For most of history, finding a new medicine was this long, slow process. It was all about luck, a ton of time, and just a whole lot of trial and error. Scientists would sift through thousands of different compounds, just hoping for that one single breakthrough. But today, artificial intelligence is completely rewriting that script. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to explore how AI is helping researchers design and test potential new medicines faster than ever before, opening up whole new possibilities for healing everything from common illnesses to super rare genetic conditions.
So to really get a grip on this revolution, you first have to understand the old way of doing things. Look at this timeline. The traditional path to getting a new drug to patients was an absolute epic, often taking more than a decade and costing billions of dollars. It's a path just littered with uncertainty, where most of the promising ideas, sadly, just never make it across the finish line.
And that brings up the big question, right? Can we change this? Can we actually shorten that timeline, slash those massive costs, and maybe, just maybe, up the chances of success? Is there any way to make this incredibly long and difficult journey faster, safer, and just better? Well, this is the exact problem that AI is now getting ready to solve.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today's explainer. We'll kick things off with that long road to cures, then see how AI is acting like a digital chemist. From there, we'll look at smarter trials, the new hope for rare diseases, and then we've got to talk about the future, ethics and access, before we wrap up with what this new era of discovery really looks like.
All right, let's start at the beginning of this marathon, really understanding that traditional challenge. The whole thing kicks off with figuring out where to even start looking for a cure in the first place.
So, what are we really talking about with drug discovery? Well, at its core, it's about finding new medicines. It starts by pinpointing a biological target. Think of it as a specific protein or a genetic hiccup that's causing the illness. And once you've found it, well, that's when the real challenge begins. You've got to find a molecule that can interact with that target and change the course of the disease. And, importantly, do it safely.
And this is where AI makes its grand entrance, acting like some kind of revolutionary digital chemist. It tackles that very first, absolutely massive step of finding the right molecule, but it does it at a scale and speed that we could have only dreamed of before.
Okay, here's a really great way to picture this. Designing a new drug is a lot like designing a key that fits a very specific lock. The lock, in this case, is that disease-causing protein, and the drug, or the key, needs to have the absolute perfect shape to fit into that lock, and, this is crucial, only that lock. Because if it starts unlocking other things, that's when you get nasty side effects. So, how in the world does AI pull this off? Well, first, it chews through mountains of biological data to figure out the exact shape of that disease lock. Then, it designs and virtually tests millions, sometimes billions, of potential keys in the blink of an eye. It predicts which ones have the best chance of fitting perfectly, so researchers can ignore all the duds and focus only on the most promising candidates. It can even guide robots in the lab to mix up and test them, creating a super fast feedback loop that would take us humans like lifetimes to even attempt.
But wait, AI's job isn't done yet, not by a long shot. It's also making that long, expensive, and difficult process of clinical trials a whole lot smarter and, in the end, safer for everyone involved.
Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. Traditionally, finding the right patients for a trial was a slow, difficult process, and that led to incredibly high failure rates. But AI can flip that on its head. By scanning medical records and genetic data, it can find the exact patients who are most likely to respond to a new drug. This means we can design smarter studies and get better answers faster.
So you might be wondering, why do so many promising drugs just fail so late in the process? Well, a lot of the time it's because of unexpected side effects, toxicity, or it just plain doesn't work. But here's the game changer. AI can actually predict a lot of these problems before a drug ever even gets to a human. It can simulate how a molecule might be toxic or break down in the body, saving years of wasted time and money and making the whole thing so much safer.
All right, now let's shift to something really powerful, something that brings a ton of hope. We're talking about finding cures for people who have, for a long time, been left behind. You see, rare diseases have always been tough to tackle because they affect a smaller number of people, which makes them less attractive for traditional research funding. But AI doesn't care about market size. It can dig through all the existing scientific data out there to find new patterns, connect a person's rare genetic code to a potential treatment, and even figure out if an old, approved drug could work for a completely new disease. For families who've been waiting years, sometimes lifetimes, this is the first real sign of hope they've ever had.
Okay, but with any technology this powerful, we have to talk about the flip side. With great power, you know the rest. As we race towards this future of AI-driven medicine, we've got to pause and ask some really important questions about how we use this technology for the good of everyone.
And it really boils down to this single crucial question. With all these amazing AI-powered cures coming, who actually gets to benefit from them? It's a conversation we have to make sure these breakthroughs don't just help the wealthy, but instead lift all of us up.
So we're looking at a few major hurdles here. First up, access. How do we make sure these cures aren't just for the rich? Then there's bias in the data. If an AI is only trained on data from one group of people, will its discoveries actually work for everybody else? And finally, transparency. If an AI suggests a treatment, we need to understand why. It can't just be a black box. The future here has to be guided by all of us, not just the scientists.
So where does that leave us? Well, it points to a whole new era of discovery, one that's built on a really cool partnership between human creativity and artificial intelligence. Let's be clear about one thing. AI isn't here to replace the human spirit of discovery. It's here to amplify it. From the scientists at the lab bench to the doctor with their patient, AI is becoming a partner, a tool that helps our best and brightest find cures faster and more safely than ever. It's still people, with their curiosity and their passion, driving this journey. But now, that path ahead is shorter, brighter, and way more promising than ever before.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. We really hope this explainer gave you a better look at the incredible shifts happening in the world of medicine.
Knowledge Equity Partners is a multilingual channel that's all about transforming complex, modern ideas into clear, actionable insights. The kind of insights that empower you to grow in your work, your learning, and your everyday life. We really focus on practical, research-driven knowledge to help you think more clearly, use technology wisely, and build a more meaningful and impactful life.
So, if you found this valuable, please subscribe to Knowledge Equity Partners. That way you'll get notified about our daily videos. And hey, don't forget to like, share, and spread this practical knowledge with your family, your friends, and your community. And definitely keep an eye out for our next episode for more info on the topics that are shaping our world. Let's keep that quest for knowledge going, together.